The trees don't apologize for losing their leaves in the fall, and they don't panic when winter comes and everything goes quiet and still. They don't force themselves to bloom before spring is ready. They just trust the cycle, and every year, without fail, the leaves come back. If last week felt heavy, good. It was supposed to. We went deeper together, and I don't take that lightly. We talked about the liminal space between who you're releasing and who you're becoming. And I asked a lot of you. I asked you to sit in discomfort, to look at hard truths, and to do the kind of inner work that doesn't always feel pretty while you're in it. But now I want to remind you of something the trees already know, that not every season is about excavation. Some seasons are about expansion, some are about rest, some are about blooming. And knowing which season you're in might be one of the most liberating things you'll ever learn about yourself. Because you were never meant to operate at the same level of intensity every single day. The pressure to always be grinding, always be growing, always be doing the deep work, that's not all there is to healing. That's just a different kind of resistance. So today, we're going to talk about cycles, the ones happening in the sky, in your body, in your lifetime, and in your heart. And by the time we're done, my hope is that you stop fighting your own rhythm and start flowing with it instead, because you deserve to be able to stop and smell the roses. Welcome to Jotindi, Journey to the Inner Divine, a sacred space for healing energy, emotional release, and soulful transformation. If you're ready to live with joy, ease, and purpose, you're in the right place. What if I told you that the universe has been leaving you a roadmap this whole time? Not like some hidden ancient text or locked behind years of spiritual study, but written into the very fabric of nature itself, into the push and the pull of the ocean, the phases of the moon, the turning of the seasons, and even the rhythms in your own body. See, we live in a world that worships the straight line, the hustle, the constant forward motion, but nature doesn't work that way. Nature spirals and cycles. Nature knows when to bloom and when to rest and when to let go. And it never once questions whether that's okay or not. And here's the thing, you are nature. Every bit of you. The parts that feel electric and expansive and ready to take on the world, and the parts that need to go quiet and turn inward and just be still for a while. Both of those are supposed to be there. Both of those are part of the design. And today, I want to walk you through 4 cycles that I believe every woman should understand about herself. Because when you start to see them and feel them, something shifts. Life stops feeling like something that's happening to you and starts feeling like something that you're moving through with a lot more grace. We're going to talk about the lunar cycle and how the moon affects us more than most of us realize. We're going to talk about your feminine cycle and not just something to manage every month, but something that's like a superpower. We're going to explore the larger cycles of life that shape who we become across decades. And we're going to talk about emotional cycles and why the most comforting thing you might hear today is that nothing lasts forever, not even the hard parts, especially not the hard parts. So settle in because this one's going to feel like magic. Okay, long before the alarm clocks and the calendars and the relentless hum of modern life, humans looked up, right? They watched the moon move through her phases with a kind of reverence that we've mostly forgotten in this day and age. They planted by her light, they rested in her darkness, they celebrated her fullness and honored her disappearance, trusting that she would always, always return. And she always did. The moon has been quietly, faithfully governing the rhythms of this earth for longer than any of us can even fathom. She pulls at the oceans and stirs the tides. And whether we're aware of it or not, she actually moves us too. And I think on some level, we've always sensed this. And that's why the word lunatic shares the same root with lunar. It's why folklore from every corner of the world is threaded through with moon mythology. It's why even now, in our age of science and screens, We still feel something when we look up at a full moon hanging low and luminous in the sky. And that feeling, it's not your imagination. Research has begun to catch up with what our ancestors already knew. Studies have found measurable effects of lunar phases on our sleep and our mood and our behavior. We're not separate from the sky like we used to think. But here's what I really want you to take away from this, okay? The moon doesn't fight her own cycles. She doesn't apologize for going dark, and she doesn't try to stay full forever. She waxes and she wanes, and she trusts that both are beautiful and both are necessary and both are exactly what they're supposed to be. What would it feel like for you to give yourself that same kind of permission? Now, I want to talk about something a little bit closer to home, something that's been with you every single month for most of your life. And yet, somehow, in a world that was never quite designed around it, you may have learned to see it as an inconvenience or an obstacle or something to push through or manage or minimize so that you can keep up with a pace that was never built for you in the first place. What if everything you thought you knew about your cycle was only half the story? See, your feminine cycle is not a limitation, it's a map, like a living, breathing, ever changing guide to your own inner landscape. One that shifts your energy and your intuition and your creativity and even your emotional depth in predictable, beautiful waves every single month. Think of it like 4 seasons. And just like the seasons of the earth, none of them are mistakes. All of them are medicine. Okay, your inner winter. This is your period when the world might expect you to keep going at full speed, but your body is begging you to slow down and turn inward. This is actually when your intuition is at its most powerful, and the veil between your own inner wisdom is really thin here. Okay, honor that. Claim that time for yourself and rest without guilt. After winter, of course, comes spring. This is your follicular phase, a week of quiet renewal where new ideas begin to bubble up like shoots through the thawed ground. Your energy is returning, your creativity is waking up, and there's something genuinely magical about this phase if you let yourself move at its gentle pace rather than immediately filling every moment with something to do. After this is summer, obviously, and this arrives around ovulation. And oh, is it something? Confidence, warmth, social energy, clarity. She shows up like the sun at full height. Your to do lists disappear, connections feel effortless. You feel like the fullest, brightest version of yourself. Just maybe don't book your entire month during this phase and forget that winter is coming. After that, of course, is autumn. And this is where everything kind of settles in the week or so before your period. This is your luteal phase. And this season has a reputation. And honestly, it deserves a little more credit because your eye for detail is razor sharp. Your tolerance for things that don't serve you is beautifully low. And your need to protect your energy, it's not mood swings, it's wisdom. So let yourself set some boundaries. Let yourself say no. Because here's what changes when you start to truly understand this map. You stop calling yourself lazy when you need to rest. You stop feeling crazy when your emotions shift. You stop apologizing for being a different version of yourself at different times of the month because you realize that all of those versions of you were always supposed to be there. You weren't designed to be the same every day. You were designed to cycle. And there is so much freedom waiting for you on the other side of that understanding. Now I want to take you somewhere older, older than modern psychology, older than self-help books and wellness trends and everything the internet has ever told you about who you should be and how fast you should get there. I want to take you to the ancient wisdom of traditional Chinese medicine, a tradition that has been mapping the rhythms of the feminine experience for thousands of years. And what they found what they documented across centuries of observation is that women move through life in distinct 7-year cycles. Each one has its own energy, its own invitation, its own particular kind of medicine. And when I first discovered this framework, I had one of those moments where everything gets really quiet and you think, oh, that's what that was. So let me walk you through the cycles. And I'm going to start from age 28 because this is where things start to get really interesting for most of us. So from 28 to 34, traditional Chinese medicine describes a balancing phase, a time to nurture the equilibrium between giving and receiving, between action and rest, and the masculine and feminine energies within you. This is a time to find your center and learn to maintain it. And I'm going to be really honest with you here because I think honesty is more useful than a perfectly curated story. I did not do this phase gracefully, not even a little bit. I was coming out of a marriage with an abusive alcoholic. My dad was sick with cancer, and I spent most of that season either by his side taking care of him or out trying to party hard enough to forget how much pain I was in. And balance was not something that I had access to. I was surviving. And I don't say that with shame or anything. I say it with compassion for the woman that I was then because I was doing the absolute best that I could with what I had at the time. But looking back, I can see pretty clearly, I can see how things would have been so much smoother if I had understood that this season was asking me to find some balance. And if someone had handed me this map back then, and that's part of the reason why I'm handing it to you now. So after that phase, from 35 to 41 comes the clarity phase. And this is where I am right now. This phase is described as a cycle of inner wisdom, of finally having enough life experience to know what you want and what you don't want, of shedding what no longer serves you, and beginning, maybe for the first time for a lot of us, to shift the focus back to yourself. And boy, do I feel this deeply. And for so long, I was living as the person who put everybody else first, who people pleased her way through decades of her own life. I had dreams, like real, burning, beautiful dreams. And yet I kept finding reasons to wait or to put somebody else's needs ahead of mine or to maybe someday accomplish them. And then something shifted in me. I wouldn't say that I feel like I'm running out of time exactly. It's more like I finally woke up and realized that I have already spent 20 years not going for what I truly want. And I don't want to spend the next 20 the same way. So they also suggest that this stage should focus on nourishing spiritual and emotional well being. And that is exactly what I'm doing. Now, the next phase from 42 to 48 describes a knowledge phase, a time of deep inner development, of shedding what holds you back from your truest self, preparing for one of the most powerful transitions of a woman's life. And I'm not there yet, but I'll be honest, I have started finding myself looking forward to it for the very first time in my life. There's something that sounds so liberating about the idea of a season devoted entirely to becoming more authentically yourself. So after that is 49 to 55, and this is the cycle of wisdom. This is a time of reflection and depth and nurturing your body and your mind and your spirit with rest and creative joy. And this time is seen not as a decline, but as an arrival, the becoming of the wise woman that others turn to. And then after that is 55 onward. And this is what some ancient texts call the second spring. It's the idea that once a woman has moved through menopause, she gets to begin again with the energy and the fearlessness of someone who has nothing left to prove and everything left to live. She's shouting her truth. She's leaning fully into herself, and she's not caring even a little bit about what anybody else thinks. And honestly, I think that sounds amazing. But here's what I want you to take away from all of this. And that's whatever cycle that you're in right now, it's not an accident. It's not a mistake, and it's not something for you to try to rush through or wish away. It's exactly the season that your soul signed up for. And somewhere in it, if you look closely enough, is an invitation just for you. So today we've looked at the sky and the rhythms written into your body and the larger arc of your lifetime. But there's one more cycle that I want to talk about. And in some ways, this might be the most immediate, the most present, the one that you're most likely to be sitting inside of right now as you listen to this. And this is the cycle of your emotions. And the ancient wisdom here is deceptively simple. This too shall pass. 4 words that have been whispered across centuries, across cultures, across every language humans have ever spoken to comfort one another. And yet, somehow, in the middle of our hardest moments, they can feel almost impossible to believe. Because when you're in it, like really deep in it, the darkness can feel permanent. Like this is just who you are now. Like the weight that you're carrying has always been there and always will be. Like the version of you that felt light and hopeful and alive was somehow the illusion. And this heavy darkness is the truth. But here's what the cycles teach us. And that is nothing is permanent. Not the pain, not the grief, not the confusion or the exhaustion or the feeling that you'll never quite find your footing again. These are not life sentences. They are just seasons. And seasons, by their very nature, are always moving towards something new. And there is so much freedom in that if you let yourself receive it. When you're going through something hard, I mean, really hard, like the kind of hard that makes you question everything, you don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to fix it or force it or understand it. Sometimes all you have to do is keep going. Just keep breathing. Keep showing up for yourself one small moment at a time. Because this season cannot last forever. It was never designed to. And on the other side of it, something new is always waiting. But there's the other side of this truth, the side that we don't talk about enough. And that is that unfortunately, the beautiful moments pass too. The seasons of joy, of flow, of feeling deeply alive and aligned, like everything is finally clicking into place, those are also impermanent. And that's not something to mourn, it's something to honor. Because when life is good, like really genuinely beautifully good, I want you to drink it in. Celebrate everything. Cherish the people around you. Let yourself feel all the joy down into your bones without immediately bracing for when it ends. Be so fully present in the good that it becomes a memory worth keeping, a warmth worth returning to on the colder days. Because this too shall pass. It's not just a comfort for the darkness. It's an invitation to fall in love with the light while it's here. That's the gift of impermanence. That is what cycles are trying to teach us, that nothing is forever. And because of that, everything is precious. So I want to pause here for a moment. We've traveled quite a distance together so far in this episode, from the moon and her faithful phases to the hidden superpowers in your own body to the larger stories of your lifetime and the quiet wisdom of impermanence. And I want to ask you something, and I want you to really sit with it and not rush past it. Which cycle are you most aware of right now? Maybe it's a phase of your feminine cycle that finally makes sense after everything we talked about. Maybe it's a life cycle that you didn't even know you were in until just now. And suddenly you're looking back at the last few years and thinking, oh, that is what that season was asking of me. Or maybe you're in an emotional cycle that has felt endless and heavy, and you needed someone to remind you today that it will not always feel this way. Or maybe, and I hope this is true for at least some of you, that you're in one of the beautiful seasons, one of the expansive, luminous, everything is flowing ones. And if you are, I hope this episode is your permission slip to savor every single moment without waiting for the other shoe to drop. And wherever you are, it's not random. It's not a mistake. You're exactly where your soul needs to be right now. And the cycle that you're in, however uncomfortable or however beautiful, is carrying you somewhere. It is always carrying you somewhere. So the only question is whether you're willing to stop fighting the current long enough to see where it's trying to take you. Now that we've felt all of the cycles and we've recognized ourselves in them, now let's talk about how to work with them. Because understanding is beautiful, but integration is where the real transformation lives. And I have 3 practices for you today. And as always, I'm not asking you to do all 3 at once. Just pick the one that calls to you. You can start there. That is enough. First, we have the moon ritual. This one is very simple and honestly pretty magical. On the full moon, I want you to find a quiet moment and light a candle if you have one. Get a piece of paper out and write down everything that you're ready to release. The beliefs that are keeping you small, the relationships that are draining you, the version of yourself that you've outgrown, the fear that's been whispering that you're not ready. Write it all down. And then I want you to burn it. Literally. Watch it turn to smoke and release it back to the universe. If you don't have access to a flame or it's not safe for you to burn something, you can tear it up into tiny pieces and bury it in the earth. Then on the new moon, you're going to do this again, except for this time, you're going to write down what you want to call in, your desires, your intentions, your prayers. Write them like they're already on their way to you, because they are. Then I want you to burn that too, releasing it like a wish into the universe. And then focus on it every day until the next full moon arrives. The moon has been holding space for human intention for thousands of years, and she knows exactly what to do with yours. The second practice, this one is an experiment, and I want to invite you to try this. And it's going to take a little bit longer. Okay, this one's going to take a month. I want you to start tracking your cycle and not just the dates, like when you're bleeding and when you're not, but I want you to track how you feel each day, like your overall energy, your mood, your creativity, your social appetite. Just a couple of words in the notes app on your phone or in a journal, that's enough. And by the end of the month, you're going to start to see a pattern emerge. And once you can see the pattern, then you can begin to plan with it. So you can start to schedule your big meetings and bold moves around your ovulation, or do your deep creative work in your follicular phase, or rest without guilt when you're menstruating. Just let your luteal phase do the editing and the boundary setting. You can't always control what life asks of you, but you can start moving through it with so much more grace when you understand the seasons that you're cycling through. And the most radical thing about this practice is how quickly you're going to stop calling yourself inconsistent and start calling yourself cyclical, which is exactly what you were always meant to be. This particular practice has been extremely helpful for me. And when you're running your own business, whether it's online or in person, there is all kinds of pressure to constantly be on and post every day and be so consistent. But unfortunately, that's not life. That's not every woman's reality. And for me, when I decided to do certain tasks during certain times of my cycle, everything got so much easier. I was able to plan my content when my creativity was high. And then I was able to edit it and execute it when I needed a little bit more time to get things done, but didn't have all the energy for the creativity. It's extremely liberating to give yourself permission to work in your rhythm rather than try to push through, regardless of what is actually happening in your body. Okay. And then third practice. This third practice is a gratitude practice, but I want to share it a little bit differently. And I don't want to just give you another boring gratitude practice, like write down 3 things that you're grateful for. I want to share with you how my gratitude practice evolved because I think that the place it came from might really resonate with some of you. So, most gratitude practices start with a list, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's actually how I started mine too. I was writing down what I was thankful for at the end of each day. Simple, effective, a beautiful place to begin. But then something shifted for me. I wanted my gratitude practice to be deeper and to actually help me feel relief in challenging areas of my life. And as I started navigating my autoimmune disease, I was waking up every morning with pain in my joints, stiffness in my hands, the particular heaviness of a body that isn't cooperating the way that you need it to. And I found a book that actually changed the way I see everything. I wasn't into most of what the book said, but there was one thing that really stuck out to me. And it made me start asking a different question. Instead of what am I grateful for in general, I decided to get more specific to help me out with the biggest challenge that I'm facing right now. I started asking, what am I grateful that I can still do? Now, when I wake up and I feel the pain in my back as I stand, I thank my legs for carrying me. And when I reach for my toothbrush and I feel that ache in my hands, I thank my joints for still moving, painfully or not. I find genuine gratitude for my eyesight, for my hearing, for the small, ordinary dignities that are so easily overlooked until they become something you have to fight for. Because things could always be different. And for now, in this moment, in this body, in this season, there is still so much to honor. And here's what happened when I started doing this. I actually started moving a little easier. I still wake up in pain, but it's taking me half the time to get out of bed in the morning as it did just a month ago. And I will call that a win. Now, I'm not telling you this so you feel sorry for me or anything like that. I'm telling you this because I want you to know that gratitude isn't just a mindset practice. It can be a body practice. It is a frequency. And when you start meeting your own life, even the hard, imperfect, painful parts of it, with genuine thankfulness, something in you begins to soften. Your nervous system gets to relax a little bit, your energy shifts, and the universe has so much more room to bring you what you're asking for. So just start where you are. Just be grateful for what you have. Find the things to be thankful for in the thing that's causing you the most trouble, and let that gratitude become the ground that you grow from. Now, I could go on and on about how this practice has benefited me and how when I fall off the wagon, I almost always notice it immediately. Heck, maybe I'll even do a whole episode on that someday. If you want that, let me know. But here's what I really want to leave you with today, that you were never meant to be the same every single day. You were never meant to operate at one speed, in one season, at one level of intensity forever. That version of life, that one that asks you to be constantly on and producing and pushing, that was never designed with you in mind. But you were designed with so much more intention than that. You were made to move with the moon, to honor the seasons of your body, to trust the larger arc of your lifetime, even when you can't see where it's taking you, to find comfort in the impermanence of the hard seasons, and to drink deeply from the beautiful ones. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not inconsistent or unpredictable or too much. You are cyclical. And that is one of the most powerful things that you could ever be. So this week, I want you to pick one practice and try it. Maybe watch the moon, track how you feel, thank your body for one thing that it did for you today. You can start small. You can start right where you are at. The cycles will meet you right there. And if something in this episode stirred something in you, if you felt something shift or open up or come into focus, I want you to know that you don't have to navigate what comes next alone. I work with women one-on-one through something called the Aligned Path. It's a 12-week healing intensive designed to help you move through exactly what we've been talking about today. Your patterns, your cycles, your blocks, your dreams, all of it together. So if that's calling you, even just a quiet whisper of maybe, I want you to honor that. Head to mariahaurora.com and book a discovery call. Let's find out if we're a good fit to walk this next season together. Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for choosing to understand yourself a little bit more deeply instead of just pushing through. That choice matters more than you know. So until next time, flow with your cycles, trust your seasons, and remember there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path.